Hello again. Why your brain makes you attracted to red flags? That is what we are going to talk about today. Why your brain is attracted to red flags. I'll explain what red flags are. Okay, so before that, let's be honest. Let's be honest for a second. You know those people who are obviously bad news to you. You know, the ones your friends keep warning you about. The ones who show up late, who cancel plans, or, they just give you this bad gut feeling that, there's something wrong, something fishy about them, right? The thing is, you're probably attracted to them. Why? And before you feel bad about yourself, I need you to know that this is not a character flaw of yours. Your brain is literally wired, our brains are literally wired to find certain red flags irresistible and attractive. And once you understand why, everything about your past relationships will kind of fall into place. You'll start making more sense of what happened in the past. So stick around because we are going to, in this video, dive deep into some psychology that might save you some heartache down the line. I'm Rahul Nair. Welcome to Huddle Psychology, where we huddle together to learn more about ourselves. So let's begin. Firstly, let's normalize this experience because I know some of you are kind of sitting there thinking, why do I always pick the wrong person? Right? Why does it always happen to me? Right? What's wrong with me that I'm attracted to the wrong ones and not the right ones, the good ones? Right? You must be thinking that. And here's the thing, if you find yourself consistently drawn to people who are emotionally unavailable, unpredictable, or who treat you like an option rather than a priority, you're not alone and there's nothing really wrong with you. You're not broken upfront, right? You're not even self sabotaging yourself. Your brain is actually following certain patterns that were designed to keep you safe. Yes, you heard me right. Safe. Even when safe is not really working out for you. And in today's world, these patterns are kind of working against you. That's what is actually happening. And the nice people, the people who, everybody says that you should gravitate towards, sometimes they genuinely feel boring. Those good people feel boring to your nervous system, not because they are boring, but because your brain has been trained to associate chaos with chemistry and stability with, well, nothing much, boring, right? Your brain has gotten used to understanding and associating chaos with chemistry and stability with nothing exciting, right? So, the first reason, let's get into understanding why this actually happens. The first reason your brain loves red flags is something we call the familiarity bias. Basically, your brain is gravitating towards people who feel familiar, towards what feels familiar, even when familiar means painful. So your brain is gravitating towards feelings of familiarity even when familiarity was suffering. If you grew up, for example, in a household where love was conditional, where you had to earn people's affection, or where emotions were kind of unpredictable, then your nervous system basically learned that this is what relationships are all about. This is how relationships work. So when you meet someone who's inconsistent, or someone who makes you work for their attention and affection, it doesn't feel wrong. It just feels familiar. It feels like home, right? Because your brain, your nervous system has been conditioned that way. So that is what is happening. And your brain is literally going, oh, yeah, I know this dance. I know how relationships work. I know how to be in relationships. I know that I have to keep proving my worth, right? So your brain kind of works that way. And even though consciously you know it's unhealthy, unconsciously it feels correct. It feels right. Meanwhile, when someone is consistently kind towards you, reliable and available to you, your brain might actually interpret that as suspicious. Your brain will interpret that as suspicious or even boring because it doesn't match your template for what love is supposed to feel like. So that's the first reason, familiarity bias. The second reason is what I call the challenge response. Now, psychologists have a more technical term. They call it the pursuit of uncertain rewards. But it's the same thing. Let me explain what that is. When someone is hard to get, right? When they are hot and cold, when you're not sure where you stand with vis-a-vis them, your brain releases a lot more dopamine than it would for someone who's clearly interested in you. That's what happens. It's the same neurochemical process that makes, say, for example, video games addictive. Think about it. If someone likes all your posts, they respond to your messages immediately, and they make it very clear that they are interested in you. Think about it. The chase is over. There's no more chasing, right? And your brain gets a little bit of dopamine hit and then it kind of moves on. But if someone, on the other hand, sees your story but they don't reply to your messages immediately, if they flirt with you and then they ignore you for days or weeks, your brain then becomes obsessed with solving that. It's like a puzzle. You become obsessed at solving that puzzle. So you start thinking, only if I can just figure out the right thing to say. If I can figure out the right thing to say, then maybe I can win them over. That's what your brain starts to think. The harder they are, here it is, right? The harder they are to get, the more valuable they are to your brain. The more harder they are to get, the more valuable they are to your brain, because it's like a cat and mouse game, right? You want to keep chasing. It's not rational, but it's how we are wired. So that's the whole thing that your brain does. And here's where it really gets kind of dark. Sometimes what we think is attraction is actually something called trauma bonding. Now, trauma bonding happens when someone alternates between treating you well and then treating you really badly. The highs feel incredible when contrasted with the lows. And then your nervous system gets addicted to that relief, that high point, right? Your nervous system gets addicted to that relief you feel when they are finally nice to you again. And this is why sometimes people stick around in toxic relationships even when everyone around them can see how bad it really is, right? It's not just love, it's your brain being chemically addicted to the cycle of tension and release, chaos and relief. Getting addicted to tension and release, chaos and relief. And here's the really messed up part, and you need to understand this. Really messed up. The more someone hurts you and then shows up with kindness, the more grateful you are for basic human decency. Your standards just drop. They just drop without you even realizing. This is what happens. Now, when you think about it, from an evolutionary point of view, all of this kind of makes sense. Because our ancestors needed to be attracted to, strong or, dominant partners who could protect them and their offsprings. Someone who was maybe unpredictable might have been a powerful leader. Someone who was hard to get might have had very high social status. But here's the thing, we're not living in caves anymore, right? That concept doesn't work anymore for us. The traits that might have signaled strength and status thousands of years ago now just signals emotional unavailability and potentially heartbreak for you. Your brain is basically still running on ancient software, right? Ancient software trying to pick mates, trying to pick partners based on criteria that made sense when we were kind of hunter gatherers, right? But in 2025, look, in 2025, the person who is ghosting you is not out there hunting mammoths or something. They're not, right? They're probably just not that much into you, as hard as it can be to stomach. So, what does this attraction to red flags actually mean? What does it cost you? Firstly, again, as with all the bad stuff, it keeps you stuck. It keeps you stuck in cycles that drain your energy and your self worth, right? You are so busy trying to win over people who aren't available to you that you miss out on the ones that are actually available to you, who care about you, right? So you remain stuck with people who are just unavailable instead of exploring and being with people who are. So that's the first problem. Secondly, it teaches you to associate drama with passion. Drama, passion, linked. You start thinking that if a relationship is not chaotic, then it's not real love. I know that sounds weird, but that's what is happening in the background. Healthy relationships start feeling boring because your nervous system is not constantly activated. Right? So, chaos, if no chaos, then there's something wrong. If it is stable, it becomes boring. While this is not rational, this is what is happening in the background. And the third thing, the third problem, and this is big, it prevents you from developing healthy secure attachment patterns. Right? Every time you choose someone who is emotionally unavailable to you, you're reinforcing the belief that love is supposed to be hard. Love is supposed to be hard, it is supposed to be uncertain, it is supposed to be earned. All of these things kind of get, all of these beliefs get reinforced in you. So, how do you retrain your brain to attract green flags instead of red ones? Let's go one by one. First, start paying attention. Start paying attention to how different people make you feel not just emotion, but make you feel in your body, right? In other words, do they make your nervous system feel calm? Do they make you feel safe around them? Or do they get you all activated or anxious? Pay attention. Anxiety is not chemistry, right? It's your fight and flight response, not chemistry. Secondly, actively practice appreciating consistency. So, what I mean by that is when follows through, someone follows through on their commitments, on their words, when they communicate clearly, when they make you feel secure, thank them. Notice that. Thank them for that, right? Appreciate that and train your brain to find reliability as something attractive. Train your brain slowly to understand and believe that consistency and showing up is an attractive thing as opposed to chaos. Thirdly, work on your healing, your work on healing your attachment patterns. Now, this could this could mean therapy, it could mean working on your inner child, it might mean just becoming aware of why familiar feels safe even when it's harmful. And finally, give green flags a chance, right? Give green people, green flag people a chance. Give them an opportunity. I know they might not be as they might not be as exciting and they may not bring that chaotic thing into your life, that rush of excitement and adrenaline rush into your life. But real chemistry is not about anxiety. Real chemistry is not about that rush of excitement. That is just a feeling that traps you into what we just discussed. It's about feeling seen. Real chemistry is about feeling seen, valued, and safe enough for you to be you. That's what it is all about. So give green flag people who might come across as boring initially, give them a chance as opposed to being attracted to red flags. So, look, rewiring these connections in your brain, these patterns, is not going to happen overnight. And let me tell you that your brain has probably been running these programs for years, maybe even decades. So it's not going to happen overnight. This change is not going to happen overnight. But awareness is the first step, with as it is with so many things. The next time you find yourself attracted or drawn towards someone who's giving you mixed signals or making you question your worth, remember what we talked about today. Ask yourself, am I attracted to the person or am I attracted to those familiar patterns? to those familiar patterns of having to earn love. Ask yourself that question. Am I really attracted to that person, or am I attracted to those familiar patterns of having to earn love? That's a good question to ask. And if you want more content about psychology, like what we discussed today, things, topics that will help us understand the psychology behind our relationship choices, make sure you stay subscribed if you haven't already to our YouTube channel. And the reason I say that is because we are going to go deep into all of this, right? So today we talked about why you are attracted, why we tend to be attracted to red flags, and we are attracted to the anxiety of being attracted to red flags. That's what we talked about today. And if you want more content like this with respect to relationships, subscribe to our channel, because we're going to deal a lot more in topics like this. We'll go deep into things like this. And as always, if you want to learn more about the topic, please visit our blog, our website, our huddlepsychology.substack.com, where you'll find long form article about the topic with suggested references and further readings if you want to dig deeper into the subject matter. And also, if you'd like to talk to me one on one about an issue that you're facing, maybe something connected to what we discussed today or anything else, then please feel free to reach out to me at rahul@huddlepsychology.com. Introduce yourself, and I'll try and get back to you as quickly as I can. And I'll try to help you to the best of my ability. So that's it for today. Until next time, keep flourishing, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.